So, of course, this past week, J. Cole, Kendrick Lamar, and Drake were the main topics of discussion in the world of music, especially for hip hop. Welcome back to the Voiceovers Podcast. I'm 24K Logan.
Camera going, man.
So, what are your overall thoughts about this whole situation, man? Of course, I recently did a video where I gave some insight on it, but now I want your thoughts because it's almost like even though J. Cole, Kendrick, and Drake are all involved in this situation, if you want to call it that, Kendrick and Drake are really the main focus more than J. Cole. And I think that's because Drake and Kendrick have been dropping subliminals at each other here and there for the better part of a decade now. And then, of course, Kendrick's recent verse on Like That is a no-brainer, definitely at Drake. And that really wasn't a subliminal.
Okay, so I guess, start off, let's talk about 2023.
Okay.
In all my years of my life, I think that was like the worst year for rap music in general, right?
Yes.
So this year, everything was quiet, and then this little beef kind of sparked a lot of interest in the rap community again. And of course, at the center of it, the big three, and now we got Metro, who produces a lot of, all the music, bro, like, Metro just been on it, for every hit. So I guess we start there. They basically kind of revived it all with the beef, but this is a beef that I can respect. It's basically a beef for first place. They're not like other rappers dissing their dead relatives or
children.
Yeah, that too.
Spouses.
That their gangs. It's none of that crap. It's strictly a thing for first place. And this is something I can respect. Not to be better than somebody else, but it's finally something that's kind of worthy, like an understandable argument, not just some dumb stuff, you know what I mean? In some way, shape, or form, I don't say it's positive, but it shows every fan base and how they'll defend their favorite artist.
I agree, and that's actually something else that I have wanted to talk about. When you take these three rappers, Kendrick Lamar, Drake, J. Cole, they're easily the three biggest rappers of our era. I know some people have Future in that conversation. He's a legend. I have him on the Mount Rushmore of the 2010s decade for hip hop, along with Cole, Kendrick, and Drake. But when you talk about the big three, it's Cole, Kendrick, Drake. Yeah. But each one of those guys, they have their own solid fan base. Like, they have a cult following, if you will.
Yeah.
J. Cole fans, and of course, he's our favorite rapper. We go hard for him. Other Cole fans go hard for him. Drake fans go hard for Drake. Kendrick fans go hard for Kendrick. And we have tremendous amount of respect for Kendrick and Drake. And we are fans of their music as well. But it's like every fan base is defending these guys to the point of no return. And you like to see that. The thing that I don't want to say worries me, but it's like, again, the three biggest rappers of our generation. There were rumors that Kendrick, Cole, and Drake, that all three of them were supposed to be on First Person Shooter.
Right.
And I truly believe that would have went down as easily one of the greatest rap songs in history. You're talking the three greatest rappers from our era of hip hop being on a song together. And I think that it would have been competitive, but at the same time, they all would have been having fun. They wouldn't have been taking shots at each other. No subliminals. I think each guy would have been making a solid case in their verse for why they're the number one rapper of the new age. Why they're like Cole say, I feel like I'm Muhammad Ali. That was a missed opportunity in my opinion. But at the same time, it does give hip hop a revival of a competitive edge. But at the same time, in contrast to that, it also can divide the fans, because you have each cult fan base, defending their favorite rapper to a core. And sometimes you have fans that will drag the other rapper down to uplift their favorite rapper. That's the only, it happens in hip hop, if you're a fan of whoever, you'll drag another rapper down to uplift your favorite rapper. Not that everybody does it, but a lot of people do it without even trying.
Yeah, but I guess I don't know, cause like you read the comment section and then it was like, where do you rank these three? And I've seen it in every order from whoever's first, whoever's last. I've seen it in every order because like people gonna have their list and their rankings. Me personally, I don't know if I can do it because they're all. I mean, Cole personally my favorite, but I like listening to all three of them, right?
Yeah.
So it's like they're all rappers, but they all have their own style and it's unique and they just can't compete with each other because they're not similar. They're different and it works,
Now, something that you had mentioned earlier was the Dreamville Festival. And I think you mentioned that because, of course, last year, Drake was at the Dreamville Festival with J. Cole.
Yeah.
Now, the reason why you brought that up was because we think, even though we don't think it's a big chance, we think that there is a small possibility that when Drake gets off of the It's a Blur tour, which will end 2 days, 2 days before J. Cole performs at the festival, we believe that there's a chance that Drake will show up to the festival out of nowhere and that him and J. Cole will drop a verse that is a response to Kendrick. Now, what are your thoughts on that overall?
It's a possibility, man, because I know somebody might bring somebody out at the thing, so that's what I guarantee. But like, it's the best opportunity since like public appearance. Because when else do you think we'll see J. Cole on stage the rest of this year? See,
exactly.
Like, I don't know any tours he's gonna do, pop-up shows, meet and greets, music videos, features. So this is like the time, like right then and there. Next time performance since everything happened. So that's all I can say, really.
And as far as J. Cole, again, we said that even though he is in the mix, it's really Kendrick and Drake that are like the spotlight of all this because they have been dropping the subliminals at each other for the better half of a decade now, or about a decade. But with Cole, I think with Cole he'll respond, and I think he'll mainly respond to when Kendrick said, "Motherfuck the big three, it's just big me."
Yeah.
I think that Cole will say something along the lines of, "Hey man, I got nothing but love and respect for you, but I don't fear you lyrically."
Sure.
I don't think he'll do it in a disrespectful way, but I think like he'll let Kendrick know like, you are one of the greatest rappers of all time. I got love and respect for you, but at the same time, I'm gonna let you know I do not fear you lyrically, and I'm willing to back up my claims as being Muhammad Ali or being the GOAT or the greatest rapper of this current day and age.
Yeah. So remember that song 1985 on KOD, right?
Yeah. So
basically, he was addressing all the younger artists, not just Lil Pump, but just a lot of other artists, but he did it in such a fashionable way. It's like with Kendrick, it's basically like two of the top guys going against each other.
Yeah.
And like Cole always talking about he's the GOAT and all this, but like, dude, he backs that up. The freestyle, the LA Lakers freestyle, like he backs it up. So like, essentially, he might actually just drop Kendrick Lamar when he like speaks about him lyrically if he disses.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
And I don't even want to call it a diss with Cole because I don't think that he's going to come at Kendrick in a disrespectful way. I think he'll be competitive, but at the same time, like he'll let him know like, hey man, I don't fear you lyrically. I respect you, but I don't fear you lyrically. Like, I'm ready. That's because I think with Kendrick in his verse on Like That, I think he was really targeting Drake.
Maybe.
And as far as Cole, I think he was just trying to like let Cole know or ask Cole like, hey bro, what's up? Like, what's going on? Like, you're one of the greatest artists ever. You are a lyrical genius. You have all of this high intellect in your music. Like, what's up? Like, what you on? Whose side you on?
Yeah.
I think it's that type of time. And not in again, we're not causing drama or tension with these guys. They're not going at each other's children, each other's spouses and whatnot.
Yeah.
It's competitive rap. But that's what I overall think was Kendrick's motive with that. I think he really does have not a personal issue with Drake, but just an issue with certain things within his music and his artistry as a rapper.
And that's understandable.
And with Cole, I think it's like, bro, I know what you're capable of. I know what you about. Like, what's going on? That's what I think it is.
Yeah, just end it off. We was talking about the rankings.
Yeah, so of course, as diehard J. Cole fans, him being our favorite rapper right now, I think we both have him at number one. And it's not just because he's our favorite rapper, but it's also I believe personally that he has been the most competitive rapper going back to 2018. When you consider his feature run, he is practically bodied. Yeah, he's practically bodied everybody that he's been on a feature with, and that's no disrespect to those other artists, but I mean it is what it is. And in the off season, while I know the general average hip hop fan isn't always going back to the off season, you talk about the off season, there's no denying that the off season is one of the most lyrical albums of this decade so far, and I believe that it has some of the best replay value. Cole went back to his roots. He kept his lyricism as we expected. I mean, what else can you say about it? And when you take all of that into account, and then you look at the verses that he's recently dropped with Might Delete Later, especially Volume 2, and we know that The Fall Off is going to be his last album, or supposed to be his last and final album. I just think that he's at a competitive edge right now where I think Kendrick can compete with it based off of his creative artistry. And I think Drake can compete with it based off of his sales and his audience. Yeah. But I think overall Cole has the edge on both of those guys right now.
Yeah, and also with like think of his verse on A Lot in Middle Child, right in there that starts everything from back then to now, and like he just started off strong. And listen to those lyrics, man. Like
counting my bullets, I'm loading up clips, I'm writing down names, I'm making a list, I'm checking them twice, and I'm getting them hit.
Yeah.
Well, now he's about to shoot.
Yeah, and then he talking about some what did he say? In A Lot, he was talking about like basically, you know, like how many faking their streams, and they play some machines.
Exactly.
And he said he would show up on everyone's album. You know what the outcome will be.
Yep.
He batting 1,000. So this man, like, he going for 100 for 100. It's like you can't even compete at this point. You know.
Exactly. And I mean, there's an argument to be made about all three of these guys. You know, you're talking about like if there's a 3-lane theory, J. Cole. Or I guess I'm not even going to say 3-lane theory. There is an argument to be made about all of these guys being the best rapper of our era of hip hop. You know, when you talk about J. Cole, I think J. Cole is like the people's champ. He relates to the everyday, average, you know, normal person. And I'm not saying that in a bad way. I just think he is, you know, the everyday hero. He is a people's champ. I mean, I think on an emotional level, he can emotionally connect with the audience, especially his fan base, better than what Kendrick and Drake could with other hip hop fans.
Understandable.
Now, and I do think that there's an argument to say that Cole is the best lyrically, but him and Kendrick are neck and neck when we talk about lyrical ability.
Yeah.
I think that Kendrick, considering the fact that he has To Pimp a Butterfly and Good Kid, Mad City, which I think is the most, I would say it's the greatest, or there is a strong argument that it's the greatest storytelling album in hip hop history. But when you take that into account, I think that Kendrick is the most artistic or artistically creative. There's an argument for him of being the best lyricist.
Right.
And when we talk about Drake, while he's not as lyrically strong as Cole and Kendrick, his edge is the ability to cross over into pop. Right. Now, obviously, he doesn't do it as strong as somebody like The Weeknd, a Bruno Mars, a Michael Jackson. Yeah. But we've seen pop elements from Drake. And also, he does have some solid hardcore tracks. And, like I said, if Kendrick, Cole, and Drake all drop on the same weekend, I expect Drake to outsell Cole and Kendrick, even if it's not by a lot.
Yeah.
That's the best way that I can break down Kendrick, Cole, and Drake. But ultimately, you know, J. Cole is my favorite, and I do have him at number one based off of, you know, everything that I had just stated about his recent run.
I mean, the first person shooter, you know, he was like one away from Michael Jackson beat. I was like, oh shoot, like
that's crazy because we know Kendrick's response, Prince outlived Mike Jack. Now, of course, there has been debate about Prince versus Michael Jackson.
Yeah.
Some people feel like Prince is the better musician, which I do agree, but Michael doesn't play instruments. Now, I'm not going to spend too much time on this, but you had something that you had wanted to say?
I'm just saying, because I was watching the video, or you asked me what I was watching. Mm-hmm. Somebody in the comment section said Prince was a jack of all trades. He could dance, sing, clothes, instruments. Dude, he was cold, bro, but it was Michael Jackson at the end of the day.
When we're talking strictly music, Michael literally had a 40-year career going back to his childhood. And I think Michael Jackson is if not the only, he is one of the very few artists that we can say for 40 straight years dropped a solid album in each decade. I can't think of any other artist that has done that.
The whole time, yeah.
So I take that into account. I take into account that I think he is the greatest dancer and the overall greatest entertainer to ever live, the greatest artist to ever live. I do think Mike has the edge on Prince, but yeah, Prince is the better musician.
Yeah.
And I guess you could say Prince was more focused on quality over quantity.
Whole time, yeah.
So there is some relevance in both of their verses. But for not Prince, but for Kendrick to respond to Drake like that in such a short amount of time is crazy.
Yeah.
And to end it off, I do think that all three of these guys got something cooking up their sleeve. I think Kendrick has verses on top of verses ready. I think Drake has verses ready. I think Cole has a whole album ready, but or he's putting the finishing touches on the album. But I think Cole has something up his sleeve as well. But overall, all of these guys are tremendous artists. Like I said at the beginning of the video, easily the three greatest rappers of our generation.
Yeah.
You know, I'm looking forward to seeing what's going to happen. I don't think that it's going to get out of hand to where things get personal.
I don't think it's going to happen.
I just don't see that happen. I think this is going to be strictly about the music, about, you know, the artistic side of the music, the intellect, the lyrics, everything combined. When you talk about these guys' music, I think is going to come into play when we talk about this feud between the three. And again, it's really between Kendrick and Drake, but Cole is in the mix too.
Yeah.
But overall, we appreciate you guys so much for watching. Thank you so much for all of the support that y'all have been showing. Thank you for tuning in. And just know that we got plenty of content on the way for you guys. Y'all comment down below what y'all think about the situation with Kendrick, Drake, and Cole. And until next time, peace and love to everybody. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button.